class. My name is Cassandra Cruz, and I am currently a senior earning my bachelor's degree in educational technology. Today, I want to go over the JavaScript reflection. I first want to mention that I do understand that this was supposed to be a written assignment. I want to apologize for that. At the moment, I'm having some issues with my nervous system, and it has been limiting me the last few days. But nonetheless, assignments must get done. So I do want to discuss the JavaScript itself. As many of you might have experienced, I got a little bit of anxiety when first hearing JavaScript. I associated it with Java itself. I associate that with developers and engineers, and by engineers I mean more animation engineers, game developers, and such. So, to my surprise, one of the videos provided is JavaScript for beginners, where they do explain more about what's going on with JavaScript and the fact that JavaScript is a lighter version of Java itself. So, for me, it was quite difficult at first trying to understand the concepts through textbooks or through text, trying to explain JavaScript. The video itself allowed me to pause and attempt the actual codes that were provided, or I would say data that was provided, and trying to see how we can implement that on a web page. The really cool thing about JavaScript were the use of data that can create things or be used for numbers, strings, loops, objects. I think just the way the language works is similar to the way Spanish and Arabic or so many other beautiful languages work. It's so complex and beautiful, and when you begin to learn it, it's awing, right? It feels like an achievement. And for me, taking this on definitely felt more of an achievement. My family's not even well versed on our printer that we've had for multiple years, so being able to understand JavaScript was quite an achievement, and it provided a lot of excitement. So I do want to go over some of my classmates' responses, so that we can have a little bit more discussion. I'm gonna scroll down here. I did see a really good one from Valeria. So after watching the videos above and doing my own research about JavaScript, I have learned a lot about its use in regards to web development and implementation. In my opinion, JavaScript is the motor of the car that causes movement, whereas HTML is the base of the car and CSS is the decor and exterior paint that makes it pretty. Now, the reason why I wanted to shout out Valeria's, I would say it's an analogy, is because I think this is what helped me understand more of the concept and putting it together, right? I mentioned that when I thought JavaScript, I thought Java itself, and that's not necessarily true. So Valeria explaining it in this way and using that analogy really helped me put the concepts together, because we typically learn the concepts apart. And learning them together allows you to realize how they influence each other in design, or how one can be used for something and one can be used for something else. So, I definitely loved her comment. I think that was the easiest way for myself to understand the actual concepts of things. So definitely thank you, Valeria, for mentioning it that way. It's helped me understand it. I'm going to continue going down. And Casey did mention something that stood out to me. Here we go. That I felt the same. I have some preconceived notions from before I really dived into the topic that still linger. I previously knew that there were different languages, but I did not know really anything about them. I have some questions about all the different programming languages, and I feel I keep going unanswered as I learn more and more. There seems to be many languages. Do programmers keep track of them? Do they all have such specific purposes, etc.? So one of the things that Casey mentioned here is that Java is a language, right? Java is a language that we are really looking into and seeing, wow, here is a different language that we can use. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other languages that I personally feel like if we could learn more of the conceptualized things, right? Why do we use JavaScript? What's the purpose of JavaScript? Is there anything similar to JavaScript? What are the similarities? Why are they broken down? Why are they separate aspects of things instead of them being together and things like that? That would have a larger impact in the course, but I think that this is something that can be learned more about if you're really interested in a career in technology, and then you would pretty much really do it is like individual learning programs. So you would go in and try to learn the actual content of it. But yeah, I think that's more of a personal learning, yourself. But do I think this course should go over it? Absolutely. I think it's a big part of languages that are involved in coding or development. But as well, I think that the online courses like this provide us or give us the ability to work on things on our own. And this would be a moment where maybe there's an assignment that we can do like research on ourselves, and we can try to figure out like, okay, so what are the languages how are they developed? What's the difference between them? How can you use them? Something like that where it's hands-on, and we'll definitely get to learn about it more. But I definitely agree with Casey. There's a lot of misconceptions and still some ideas or questions that I have after the readings and the videos on JavaScript that I can't wait to learn more about, especially moving forward in my educational career. Well, thank you so much, class, for listening to my video, and let me know if you have any questions.